Welcome to Bedtime Confessions. Welcome back to Bedtime Confessions. I hope you're doing well and that you are having a great week. Today, we're going to talk about sugar. And we're going to talk about how I managed to heal my addiction to sugar. And hopefully, it can help you as well to heal your own addiction to sugar. Because sugar is everywhere these days and sugar is addictive. It's very addictive. It's like a drug, okay? And sugar is not good. Let me just put it out there, and we all know it. Don't deny it. Sugar is bad for the health, but it's good for the mind. It's so good. Let me tell you, I have this love-hate relationship with sugar because I absolutely love sugar. Like, you put a sweet treat in front of me, I will take it and I will eat it. If I go a few days eating sugar, like 2-3 days I'm eating sugar, for the next month, I want to eat sugar. So, it is so addicting. Like, sugar just hooks you in like so fast. Like, you're not even aware of how fast it hooks you up. So that's why sugar is dangerous. So in today's episode, I'm going to share with you how I healed my relationship with sugar because it was a battle. Let me tell you that. It was a battle. Full of cravings, dependency, mind control. I don't know, but it was intense. And now I'm in the place where I feel like I don't need sugar. I still enjoy it from time to time, but I don't crave it and I don't find it as appealing as I did before. And even when I eat sugar, it doesn't feel the same as before. Like, it doesn't have the same effect and power that I used to have on me because I know the consequences of sugar or its toxicity or its consequences on my body. And so knowing all of that and knowing and learning from my past experience on how I used to perceive sugar and how I used to deal with sugar, now I know that I need to be more aware of how I consume sugar and make sure that I don't consume sugar on a regular basis because I know how addictive my body gets and how addictive my brain gets to sugar. So let's dive into the story time. So during my first year of uni, I was in not the best mental space. It was COVID-19. I just moved to Canada to pursue my degree. I was in a whole new country. I did not know anyone and I was living on residence. So it was my first time living truly by myself where I had my own money. I basically had fun adult money and I could buy anything I wanted whenever I wanted because there's no adult supervision. The first 2 months of residence, I lived by myself because it was lockdown and my roommates haven't moved in yet. So that meant that I was free to eat whatever I want, whenever I wanted, however I wanted. And that meant that I would treat myself quite often. And at first I was just baking for the fun of it, for the hobby of it, and because I didn't have anything else to do but be indoors and just bake. So I was baking, and at first I didn't see any problem with it, right? My health was not the best, but it wasn't alarming yet. So then when my roommates moved in, we all lived together for a full year in 2 different houses, and my roommates don't really have the same we don't have the same body type and the same health, I guess. Or they were more petite, more lean, way leaner, super skinny. And they could kind of eat whatever they wanted and it didn't impact their body. So then naturally them eating the way they were eating, I'm not saying they were eating unhealthy. It was just they were more free to eat sugar and stuff like that because it didn't impact their body as much as it impacted me. We would snack a lot. We would have dinner together, so we would order takeout, or we would bake together, or when I tell you we had an iced tea addiction, we would drink iced tea. I personally think that at some point we were drinking iced tea more than water, which is really, really bad because that's pure sugar, right? So then we would drink a lot of iced tea. Like we would, like when we did groceries, we would buy like a 12 pack of iced tea bottles because we knew how much we enjoyed iced tea. We would eat ice cream, just everything sugar. Like everything, like all the snacks, everything was just pure sugar, and we were eating it because we were being fun. We were being like freshers. That's not even a word. We were being like first years and just like, being dumb and like enjoying the freedom, this new sense of freedom that we didn't have when we were living at home, right? So then for, I think, like a good year, we were just like not really cautious about our health. And at some point, we were eating so much sugar that me and my friend, we decided that we should do a 30-day sugar detox. I think it was 30 days. And for 30 days, we did not eat one drop of sugar. Nothing. And it was pretty easy because we were doing it together. And then the rest of the roommates were supporting us. So it was really like a fun challenge to do. So I really like enjoyed that. So then we do the 30-day challenge. And then we were so excited to finish the challenge. And for the last day, or like when we were done, like the following day, we already planned like all the sugary things we were gonna eat because we missed sugar. And it was not really like our body missed sugar or like our taste buds missed sugar. It was more so like our mind was craving the things that we used to eat. So ice cream, iced tea, like everything, cookies, chips, whatever, like anything that had sugar in it that we used to eat before the challenge, we were gonna eat on the day after the challenge. So I'll insert a clip or a video or I think a picture that I have of like us breaking that challenge. So then after that, we immediately went back to our habits, I think. Like it was just like a blimp in history where it's like we did a 30-day detox challenge and we learned nothing from that, and then we just like continue with our sugary habits. And then at some point I stopped like craving sugar as much because I was kind of like on a transformation era where I was going to the gym a lot and I was trying to eat healthier. So then I didn't really focus on sugar anymore. I focused like a lot more on protein and like eating somewhat right. But in the back of my mind, there was always like this small voice of like the sugar addiction or like the sugar whispers were still there. Like I would still enjoy sugar very much. I would indulge on sugar. I would indulge it in like a lot, like a big amount. So that meant that like if I had ice cream, I would like, oh my gosh, there was one summer, I think, I would buy ice cream every single day and I would just have ice cream every single day. At some point, I think like for like 2-3 weeks, I would buy like a pack of Magnum ice creams and I would like finish them like in 2 days. Like I think a box comes with 2 or 3, and like I think one day I ate like 3 ice cream in a day, which is crazy, like that's so much sugar. But like my brain was like, oh my gosh, this is so good. I want to finish it right now so that we can have more. It was like there was no moderation when it came to sugar. It was like, oh, I want all of it now, like in the big dose, So it was very, very like triggering. Like having sugar at home and having sweets or anything that I enjoyed that had sugar in it, I was just like binge it like with no remorse, like with no regards of the consequences that sugar would have on my body. And so at that time, it was also mixed with like I was eating a lot of like processed food, not especially processed, but like fried food, like pizza or like fried chicken, like all those like greasy food. So then that combo of sugar plus greasy food and processed food made my skin break out like crazy. Like this is the state of my skin back then. Like I don't know if it looks as bad, but like I remember when I used to have that skin, I was just so like self-conscious because it was just so uncomfortable to have all of that acne on my skin. And at that time, I didn't register that the cause of that acne was my diet, and that all of the processed and greasy food and the sugar that I was eating was actually causing inflammation in my body, and therefore resulting in that skin condition. Because I was working out a lot during that period, and I was skinny. Like, I was at my lowest weight, and I was so happy being at that lowest weight, but my skin was not it because of my diet. So then fast forward 2-3 years. So like, I think like I would always go in and out of like my sugar addiction, where it's like sometimes I would become obsessed with a particular food that has a lot of sugar in it, and I would consume it for a lot, like a big amount for a certain amount of time. So let's say like maybe like like a month, or like maybe less, like 2-3 weeks, I would like be obsessed by that particular item or like that food. I would consume it in like large amounts until I got sick, and like I would just physically couldn't eat it anymore. So then I could just stop that obsession. It was really like to a point where it's like I couldn't control my brain. So that meant like I had to disgust myself from that food item, so that my brain would stop seeing it as something that would bring me comfort or that would satisfy me. Because the second I would get disgusted by that food, then it's like, okay, let's move on and find something else, right? Iced tea was one of those items that I used to obsess with. And then second was ice cream, especially this brand. I'll show you. That one, whoa, it was my favorite. I still enjoy it occasionally, but I still remember how bad it was in the past. And then my worst food obsession, peak sugar addiction, was Krispy Kreme donuts. When I tell you, those Krispy Kreme donuts had a chokehold on me, it was crazy. So it was last summer. Last summer, I was in a really dark mental space where I was not fulfilled at all. I felt like I didn't have a support system. I felt like I was just by myself alone, because I just moved downtown in Toronto, and all my friends lived in Scarborough. So like, it's like an hour away or so in subway. So I felt completely alone. I felt like I had nothing to do outside of the house. I didn't even go to the gym, because at that point I didn't have a gym that I felt comfortable to go in, and I was scared. Like, I don't know why, it was like that social anxiety was just peak at that moment as well. So then I would stay at home a lot more. And that meant that I was spiraling, like overthinking, spiraling, and I was finding comfort in food. And so one day I decided that I wanted a donut. And that snowballed very quickly, because one donut led to a box of 12. And that box of 12 Krispy Kreme glazed donut was my drug of choice. Oh my gosh, I absolutely craved them all the time at that point. I was eating 12 donuts by myself in one day. At first, it started like 2 days, so 6 maybe. And then progressively, I reached a point where I was able to eat 12 in a day. And it got so bad that in my room, I would have like 4 boxes of 12 donuts, because I was just eating them so close together. Like, it was like, maybe, I think at some point it was like 2 days in a row, or like 3 days in a row. Like, it was very close together that I would order them. And they were like so close to my house that I would like Uber Eats them. Even though the store was like a 5-minute walk from my place. I was so lazy to the point where I would Uber Eat it to my place instead of walking 5 minutes to get there. So I didn't even get the movement to get there and grab them, but instead I would deliver them to my house and then binge eat them and just be miserable. And then when the satisfaction of those donuts didn't hit as much, I ordered from another donut place, which also satisfied some of that satisfaction in my brain. And then when that didn't hit, I would order pizza or any other takeout that could satisfy my emotional void that I felt within me. So that was like the worst part of my sugar addiction. It was the Krispy Kreme donuts, because I was in a state where I just couldn't think about anything else but those donuts. That means that in the morning I would have a thought, like randomly the thought would pop and be like, "Oh, I'm craving a donut today." And then for the rest of the day, all I could think about was, I want to order those donuts. And my brain would only be able to focus on that until I hit the button on Uber Eats and be like, place order. And then I would be so happy. Oh my gosh, I would be so happy. I would be waiting, tracking the map, tracking the little guy to see how far he is. And I would get my donuts. I would eat the first one. I would be like, this is great. And then progressively, as I was taking another bite and another bite, I felt numb. I just didn't feel anything. At four donuts, I was like, okay, I'm super full. Like, this is not, like, I can't eat more. I would wait 10 minutes. The little, like, the thought, or like that craving popped into my head again, even though my body was full. And I was like, okay, one more. Grab another one, and then a second one, and then wait maybe 20 minutes. If I had self-control, I would wait 30 minutes. Then I would grab another one until those 12 were gone. And the next day, same scenario. Because sugar had such a huge control over me, because I wasn't dealing with the emotions that was fueling those cravings. I didn't have any purpose outside of eating, and that was all my brain could focus on. It was like, let's just get that sugar, because at least sugar is going to make me feel good for a split second. And all my brain wanted was to feel comfort and feel a little bit of happiness, because I was just drowning in darkness, right? So that was really like the worst part of my sugar addiction. And then at some point I said, you know what, we can't do this, because it's like, this is not a life. I can't let sugar control me like that. So then I don't really remember like what shifted it, but I think at some point I just stopped allowing myself to go there, or like I started at the gym and like I just focused on other areas of my life. I think it's because I focused on the gym and I started like doing cardio properly every day, and then that kind of shifted my brain towards something else instead of thinking about sugar all the time. But whenever I travel and I see sugar, or like I have the opportunity to eat desserts or like anything that has sugar in it, I would be, yes, give it to me. Or like when last Christmas we went to Thailand to celebrate Christmas with my family, and then there's one dessert, roti, which is like a roti. I don't know how to say it properly without the Thai accent. Roti. So it's like those like Indian rotis, or like, but like they're kind of crispy, and then you add like condensed milk on top of them, and oh my gosh, they're so good and they're so addictive. But the thing is, like, again, addictive because they're sugar, and so that would like trigger my brain to like seek all the ways I could eat sugar. So that was not, so every time I travel I have to like kind of like control myself, because if I start eating sugar on a regular basis, my brain quickly unravels and allows me to eat sugar in all the different ways I have available to me. So that's the very long context on my sugar addiction and where it started. It really started from not being aware that eating sugar would be detrimental to my body, to fueling or using sugar to compensate for emotions that I was feeling and that I was not dealing with. And then sugar is just like an ingredient that is so addictive to the brain that my brain just got so used to it that it just craved it all the freaking time. The thing is, sugar is like even a small amount of it can trigger a lot, like a big response in the body. The thing is, like, yes, we can eat sugar in moderation, like everything in moderation. Like, I agree. Like, I don't want you to just like completely cut off sugar, because like, of course I'm gonna enjoy a sweet treat here and there. Or like, like sugar is still like yummy, for the lack of better words. But the thing is, like, if you have no control over it, it can easily overpower you. And I don't want that for you, because I know how hard it was for me to get out of that overpowering sensation. And I know how detrimental it can get, because it can snowball into so many like health consequences and so many other things, like diabetes, cardio health, like brain health, everything. Like, it can feed cancer, everything. For me to transition from a space where sugar was pretty much controlling my life and controlling my brain, I'm someone that loves to learn about nutrition and health. And at some point, like, and I already knew on some level that sugar was not good and that it shouldn't be consumed. But I don't know why it didn't register as much as it did like last year, like after my like donut addiction. But progressively, as I was learning more about sugar, or like diseases and like nutrition and all of that, it's like a switch in my brain where it's like, I would, like, the experts would say how like sugar feeds cancer, or sugar feeds Alzheimer's disease, sugar feeds inflammation, and inflammation is the root cause of a lot of diseases. And me being someone that loves health and nutrition and longevity, I don't want to be sick. I don't want to contract Alzheimer's, or contract cancer, or whatever of those like very serious diseases. So for me, it was like, I'm not seeing sugar as the bad guy. I'm seeing sugar as what it could cost me. So instead of positioning sugar as this evil substance that should never be eaten, that it's like toxicity, whatever, and restricting yourself from ever touching it, just look at it as in like, oh, so if I eat sugar, it's going to lead to inflammation in my body and might increase my risk of diseases. It's kind of like understanding the cost and benefit. It's like everything in life. It's like, for example, the cost of drinking alcohol compared to not drinking alcohol. It's the same thing. It's basically understanding that sugar is going to create a reaction in our body, and understanding what the consequences of that reaction is going to be, and deciding if I want to agree to those consequences. So instead of fighting it back, instead of fighting and resisting my addiction to sugar, it's basically taking a more holistic approach, where it's like I'm understanding, or I'm learning why sugar is bad, and then my perspective shifts, because it's not about like, oh, I can't eat sugar because it's not good for my body. It's more so like, oh, I don't want to eat sugar because I know what it can do to my body, and I know it will feed some of the diseases that I don't want to have. Therefore, I don't want to eat sugar as much, right? So it's really understanding the root cause of what sugar could do to my body. And that kind of like, it kind of gives a sense of freedom, because it's like, it's my choice. It's my choice. Like, if I eat sugar, then I'm willing to take the risk that it will increase my risk for contracting the diseases, right? So then now it's like, oh, it's not, I don't want to eat sugar because it's going to make me fat, or it's going to make me whatever, or like the superficial reasons of why people don't want to eat sugar. But it's more so like, oh, I don't want to eat sugar because I don't want to get sick. And so I think it's a healthier way to view sugar, and a healthier way to decide whether or not I want to eat sugar. Another lifestyle change that allowed me to remove that need and that craving for sugar was to eat properly. Once I started to view nutrition as something that was fueling me to work out more or to function better or like to power my brain, then I focused on eating more protein, eating more fiber, making sure that I'm eating carbs and balancing my diet so that my body was satisfied nutritionally and it doesn't have to compensate. When the body has to compensate, it will find all the ways that it could. So that means it'll trigger cravings. It'll ask for things and then you might not interpret those cravings properly. And because sometimes, let's say like, oh, you're not really hungry, but you're just thirsty, but you might not recognize that you're actually just thirsty, therefore you're just going to eat more food. Those hunger cues might be misleading if if you don't have a good like awareness of what those means, and therefore you might indulge in things that are not going to add to your body, and your body's just going to keep asking for more because it's like, well, you haven't satisfied what I'm asking for, so I'm going to keep sending those signals, but you keep misinterpreting them. So like, we're never winning here. Like, your body's not being nourished, but your brain is asking for more, and you're confused and you're just eating. It could lead to binge eating and whatever. Once I focus on my diet and I ate enough protein, fiber, carbs, and fats, that's when my diet was balanced and I didn't have those cravings anymore because my body just was okay. It was okay. It was like, oh, I'm nourished. Like, I don't need more because you're giving me everything that I need. So, like, I'm not asking for more. So, therefore, those cravings don't pop up. And I'm not going to say, like, no, I never crave sugar anymore. Like, yeah, of course. I enjoy sugar. I still think about those Krispy Kreme donuts from time to time. Not going to lie, like, I still love them. I had one, like, 2 weeks ago, and it was the best. It was the best. But the difference this time was, like, oh, I don't want a second one. It was like, oh, I enjoyed that one fully, but I'm good. Like, one is enough. And then I didn't have those intense cravings afterward where it was like, oh my gosh, I had one, now I want to have a second one. No, I want a third one. The next day, oh, maybe I want to order a box. No, not anymore. Because I'm feeding myself and treating my body with respect and love. And I know that if I want to enjoy a sweet treat from time to time, I'm allowed to. Because I have that power and freedom of choice. Because I understand what sugar does to me. And I think that's, if you have to take anything from this video, is you need to understand the cost of what you're doing to your body when you're eating sugar. Because once you do, you can never remove that knowledge from your brain. Because whenever you're going to eat sugar, it'll pop back up. It'll be like, oh, I understand the consequences of eating that sweet treat. Right now, it's fine because it's a small amount. But if I were to let it unravel, then I know what I'm signing up for. I'm signing up for potentially having diabetes, potentially feeding cancer cells in my body, or increasing inflammation. That means maybe having bad acne. And if you're okay with that, then go for it. Eat all the sugar you want. But I'm not the type of person that wants to do harm to my body because I want to live a long life and a long, healthy life. So that's my story with sugar. Now, we're in a loving relationship. A very chill relationship because I don't eat sugar as often because I just don't enjoy or see the point of it as much. But I'm not spiraling anymore, and I'm very, very grateful and very proud of myself for doing the work and dealing with the emotional toll that I was dealing with at the time that was fueling those cravings. And I guess, yeah, look at what are those emotions that are pushing you to comfort yourself through food as well. I'll make another video on food and how it can comfort you and why you shouldn't seek comfort in food. But that'll be another video, so watch out for that one. So that's it for tonight. I'm gonna go to bed because it's pretty late and I want to chill in bed before I have to head to sleep. But I hope you enjoyed today's video. I know it was a long one, but I hope that my experience with sugar can inspire you to reconsider your relationship with sugar and how you view sugar, because the sooner you do it, the better, because your body is going to reward you for not eating as much sugar, because sugar is a toxin, and even in moderation, it can be very hard to keep that under moderation. So you got this. I'm gonna leave you here, and I hope you have a beautiful night. Bye.